What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, and today it's a sad day because we are taking our last ride on the special guest Aprilia Tuono V4 1100 Factory Ultra Gold. It's a long name. I have to take this thing to the folks at Aprilia tomorrow for MotoGP, and that means it's no longer living with me. But I have been spending a week with this motorcycle. It's making 175 horsepower, 89 foot-pounds of torque, and I gotta be honest with you guys, that might be too much power. So today I wanted to just chat. What's the point of having this kind of power? Is there such thing as too much power on a motorcycle? And what do I think the right power figure is for a street motorcycle? Let's hit the road and have some fun. This video is powered by Cardo. They're the industry leader in motorcycle communication systems with a wide range of products that suit all kinds of budgets. Whether you're looking to communicate with your buddies on a ride or just listen to music, Cardo's got something for everyone. Click that link down in the description below and use the code SPITE10 for 10% off your order.
Oh man, it is a beautiful evening for a ride. This is one of the latest I've ever actually been out filming. And I just wanted to take one last ride down Lime Creek on the old Tuono before it's time to give it back. I also want to decompress a little bit because one of my memory cards for my dashboard camera has been driving me nuts today. I need to replace all of my memory cards, which is really annoying. But this is a video I've been meaning to make for a while because it gets at the heart of the slow bike fast or fast bike slow argument. The more I think about it, the more it really comes down to that question. Do you prefer riding a slow bike fast or a fast bike slow? Because let's be real, I've been riding this thing for 5-6 days at this point, and I think I've hit full throttle once, and it's not just because it's in break-in. You know, as I'm getting later into the break-in, I've got about 520 miles in at this point. As I get later in the break-in, I get a lot more liberal with my application of the throttle. So, you know, it's not for lack of trying. The reality is there's just not enough runway for a bike like this out on the street. It's blisteringly quick, and you know, you get onto a highway on-ramp, you're through the speed limit within the first 2 gears. But the more I've been riding this thing around, the more I realize that this is a difficult bike to ride. And pretty much every super bike is. Everything that I've ridden that has this much power is a difficult motorcycle to ride. You're managing a lot of things on this bike, and the margin of error is so razor thin, you know? Your braking distances become so much shorter, your acceleration becomes so much shorter because it happens so much faster. It's difficult to ride one of these and really get to have fun with it, because it's a serious time all the time. And you'll notice that I'm not even in sport mode. I've ended up riding this thing around the majority of the time in touring mode, because touring mode, the throttle's just it's a little bit more mellow and the suspension is a little bit softer. So it's a little bit better for these bumpy roads that we have out here. So in that sense, there are some times that I wish I was on my Hornet, or I wish I was on the 600, or the Grezzo, just because I can have a little bit more fun with those motorcycles. I can rev them out and see what they've got under the hood, because I can touch the power. I can access it a lot easier. But one of the reasons I'm having so much fun on this bike is because it's jam-packed with some really awesome technology. Like, seriously, some stuff that I want on every one of my motorcycles. As I've been riding around more and more with this semi-active suspension, I realize how it's not just a gimmick. I realize how good it really is at making this bike comfortable. This suspension does, I've said it in my review, it does such a good job of smoothing over the bumps and reacting to the road surface that it's always comfortable. I never get those big, like, jarring shocks to my body as I'm going over bumps. And unfortunately, I don't think that this is a piece of technology that will ever see quote-unquote widespread adoption. I don't think we'll see this on middleweight naked bikes anytime soon. I don't think the day will come when a MT-09 has semi-active suspension, because what's the point? This is such a flagship feature that it doesn't really make sense for them to be putting it on any old motorcycle. So if you want this kind of technology, there's only one place you can get it, and it's these top-end, top-shelf motorcycles, at least for now. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't see stuff like this active suspension, semi-active suspension, coming to the likes of an RS660, a Tuono 660, an MT-09. So then with all that being said, what do I think the right, quote-unquote, horsepower figure is for the street? And here it's really hard for me to nail it down, and the range is going to be really wide, so wide as to be comical. But it's going to come down to what you're doing, right? I think, first of all, you should rule out anything below 47 horsepower. If this is going to be your only bike, you should have something that's at least A2 compliant, right on the edge of being that A2 license. Because you really do need, especially down in a state like Texas, where our highways are big and people are traveling fast, I really do believe you need a bit more power under the hood to be able to get in and out of trouble. To give you an idea, KLX 300 SM, that one I rode a while back, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that bike. I really did. Problem was, on the highway, it was a disaster. It was too light. It didn't make enough power to really accelerate, and it was screaming on the highway. But okay, that's just a single cylinder, right? Well, I've also ridden a GSX 250, a Ninja 300, a Rebel 250. Those bikes are too slow. I really do like the Ninja 400, the Z400, the NK, the CF Moto 450 SS. Those are really, really great bikes, especially for somebody who's getting started. But let's say you're not getting started, you're looking for a motorcycle that's going to be your jack of all trades. To be honest, I really think you're looking at like 100 to 120 horsepower. Maybe I'm just a speed demon, but I really enjoy having that kind of horsepower available. You know, 90s fun, 80s fun. The MT-07 is like 72, I think, and that one's a lot of fun. But me personally, I like a bike that's got some rush to it. And so I really like that 120 horsepower range. We're talking middleweight naked bikes here. But I could also see somebody making the case for something all the way up to like 140 horse. The CBR or CB1000R. That one's about 140 horsepower. The GSX S1000 is about 140 horse. Those are really fun, and because they're inline fours, that 140, it's kind of at the top. So you can live with some good torque, but not always have that screaming top end. You know what I mean? Once you get beyond like 140 horsepower, I see additional power as really just a matter of degree. I said this in my review that there's no real measurable difference for the average rider between 175 horsepower and 200 horsepower. Now, when you start talking about like 240 out of some of the crazy leader bikes, yeah, you'll feel that difference for sure. But most of the hyper nakeds are somewhere between 160 horsepower and 200. And in reality, you're not going to feel significantly faster on a Ducati that's making 200 horsepower than you are on this, because you're never going to use it. You're never going to be able to reach it, because most twisty road rides end up kind of like this, right? You end up behind a car at some point, and I can slow down here. I can slow down a good bit and let him get away from me, right? But he's on the brakes, so it's going to take me a hot minute before, you know, he's down the road enough that I can speed up. And once I get back on the gas, because this thing is so fast, I'm right on his bumper again already. You know? And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, I take my Hypernaked to a racetrack, or I take my Superbike to a racetrack. Okay, cool, sure. If you're at a track like COTA, where we have a 1 kilometer long back straight, you can definitely have some fun with a leader bike. But I hope you're good on the brakes. I really hope you're good on the brakes. Because once you hit that braking marker, you need to come down from whatever speed that is. And I've been on racetracks a couple of times now where I've been behind a guy on a leader bike on like a naked bike. I was tell you a story. I was at COTA doing the Let's Learn to Ride COTA in the novice group, and I was on the NK. I think that's like 100 horsepower, and the guy ahead of me in one of my groups was on an RSV4 from like a couple of years ago. It was an old RSV4. So let's say it's only making 180 horsepower. He was able to absolutely obliterate me in the straights. I could not touch him. There was nothing I could do. He passed me like I was standing still. He blew my doors off and scared the shit out of me. But I was able to catch him in the corners because I was just more confident riding it. Like I said before, these things are hard. They're hard to ride, and they're hard to be confident on. They're not great learning platforms. Though I will say, while I don't recommend this motorcycle for the average Joe, holy cow, is it so much fun. And sure, you can't use all the power, but I don't think that's the point. I think the point is to have the really cool technology and the amazing engine note and the glorious golden black and white paint job on this thing. And to be able to flex a little bit. It's fun to flex. So let me know all your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think the appropriate amount of power is for the street, and whether or not you actually ride a big, super fast motorcycle like this. I'd be really interested to hear from guys who are out on leader bikes or hypernakeds who are in the comments section. Let me know, do you actually like dig into it? Can you dig into it? Or have you gotten so used to the power that it's less nerve-wracking for you? Because I will say, after a week, I've gotten comfortable, but not comfortable enough to really get after it on this bike. Oh man, is this fast. Oh man. Let me know all your thoughts on that down in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.